Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Please take your seat.
Thank you, sir.
18th, huh?
Yes, sir. 18th.
All set?
Yes, sir.
Good. Keep smiling.
Yes, sir.
Not just in the interview, throughout life.
Yes, sir.
Let us start with disaster studies.
Yes, sir.
Tell us what you studied.
Sir, in my master's course, it's an interdisciplinary course, which is we study about the law, we study about the health aspect also, and also, sir, we study about the geography. So it is a multidisciplinary subject which actually talks about various aspects of disaster management and more so about disaster studies, sir. Since the name of the course is disaster studies, it deals more with the disasters and how we can study them and how we can improve upon our understanding about them. So disaster management per se is not as part of it, sir.
I am given to understand that normally there are natural disasters and there are man-made disasters.
Yes, sir.
Give us examples of each one.
Yes, sir. Sir, in natural disasters, we have meteorological disasters, hydrological disasters. So meteorological disasters can be earthquakes, and then we have cyclones like hydrological disasters, as well as volcanoes and other types of natural disasters. Then we come to the man-made disasters, which are like stampedes, or for example, the CBRN disasters, which industrial disasters, chemical disasters, which can be done in terms of human errors and those things, sir.
So overall global warming,
Sir.
is it a natural disaster or a man-made disaster?
So we can see that global warming has a cumulative effect and it has both the aspects, sir. So the historical emissions which have been the reason for the global warming, they are more anthropogenic as we talk about the sixth mass extinction, and so both types of interventions have gone into it.
You did use the term sixth mass extinction.
Yes, sir.
Has it already begun?
So we can see the repercussions of global warming across the world and in terms of extreme weather events, and it has led to a lot of loss of lives as well as livelihoods. So in a way we can say that we are going through this phase. However, the mass extinction means entire annihilation of the globe and everything. So in that sense we have still time, as mentioned by the IPCC report. We still have time and we need to work a lot.
I noticed that you were selected for CAPF or you appeared for CAPF.
Yes, sir, I appeared for CAPF, sir.
So in a way you are also open to join armed police?
Yes, sir, I was vying for it, and it was during my medical, which certain thing happened, sir.
Acha. Okay. I also noticed this unusual. Personally, I welcome that. But your father is Purohit sort of, Upadhyay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What does he do?
Sir, he basically performs the Karm Kand, and he is also a priest in the temple. So that has been a part of the family tradition, sir.
Which temple?
Sir, Gayatri Mata Mandir.
Are you aware of what kind of ceremonies he performs?
Yes, sir. Sir, the Havans, the Yagyas, and as well as he also conducts the wedding ceremonies which are done in the Karm Kand, and there are other ways, Griha Pravesh and similar.
I presume he has undergone some training of that?
Yes, sir.
So are you aware what kind of training he may have received?
Yes, sir. Sir, his maternal grandfather, he was very learned in this phase, Karm Kand. So he got his training and knowledge from himself, sir.
There are Shad Darshanas, do you know? 6 systems of Vedic philosophy.
Yes, sir. Sir, I know about the 6 schools of Hindu philosophy which is there in the philosophy, although I am not exactly sure about.
Maybe we are talking the same, but you tell us what schools you are referring to.
So are you referring to the Sankhya Darshan, Mimamsa?
So what are those 6?
So there is Sankhya Darshan, there is Mimamsa, there is Vaisheshika, there is Jaimini, there is yoga, and there is Vedanta.
You kind of mixed up a little bit,
Sorry, sir.
but one of them refers to what your father does.
Sir, I'm unable to recall.
Okay. How do all these things
Yes, sir.
relate to sociology, or how study of sociology helps you develop a view towards whatever your father does?
So sociology actually gives us a perspective of looking at society and how, especially religion, has been a very important social institution within our society and how it has impacted the lives of the people. So traditionally, if I take a sociologist perspective, G.S. Ghurye, he actually talked about Indian sadhus and how they have been the mediators as well as their prominence in the society has led to a lot of dispute resolutions, and in that way sociology actually helps us to see as to how religion actually impacts our lives.
There are some, they call themselves progressive forces, who criticize the very concept of religion, saying it is only a cunning by some section who want to exploit common people with all their superstition. This is one view even in sociology. Have you studied that view?
Yes, sir. So are you referring to the Marxist perspective of religion?
So what is your opinion about that?
Right, sir. Sir, in my opinion, Marxist view actually talks about the as a religion being an opium for the masses, and Karl Marx actually wrote about it. My personal opinion is that we have to see religion in a very holistic perspective. As a social institution, it has a very nuanced way of influencing the society, and it has been both in a functional as well as we can always see the dysfunctional aspects of it. So in a more holistic perspective, we have to buy both the functions as well as the dysfunctions. If I talk about the functions, it has been very prominent in terms of value inculcation within our generations and society. And some dysfunctional aspects can be certain incidents which were unfortunate. For example, the Asaram Bapu case, or some dysfunctional aspects. So they can be always dealt with, sir. However, a blanket notion is not the right way.
What do you learn from Krishna's life?
Right, sir. So there are multitude of things that I have learned, and the most important thing which I have ingrained is to adhere to the righteousness and be the best self of ourselves, and so that our life is towards the betterment and the welfare of the people. So that is the basic essence of the Bhagavad Gita and Shri Krishna's life, sir.
Tell us about the paper you presented, this one on traditional earthquake resilient infrastructure. You are specially referring to Himalayan region.
Yes, sir.
Tell us briefly about that.
Yes, sir. Sir, it was about a paper which actually talks about the traditional earthquake resilient infrastructure practices, especially in the Himachal Pradesh region. So there is a Katkuni architecture which actually uses the earth, the wooden and as well as stone material, and that is locally sourced, and they use non-mortar way of creating buildings, so that whenever there is an earthquake, the stone as well as the wood, they have a high ductility, and they move with the tremors, and thereby the entire structure does not collapse. So it has been seen that 2005 earthquake, it survived there were certain infrastructures it survived 2005. So
Any chance you remember this episode called the Silkyara Tunnel episode?
yes, sir. So there was an unfortunate event which happened where the collapse of a certain part of the tunnel happened, and it trapped certain workers inside. So that I remember.
Is there any relationship between your paper and what happened at Silkyara Tunnel?
Yes, sir. So since this is Salkyara Tunnel was also part of the broader Himalayan region, and it is a seismically active zone as well as a fragile ecosystem. So we need to also have very judicious use of drillings as well as when we are tunneling the Himalayan region. So in that sense, it's related.
Why is tunneling in the Himalayas more difficult?
So that I'll have to specifically read, sir.
Okay. Again, with your sociology plus the home background,
Yes, sir.
do you remember that at the time of Silkyara tunnel, there was a very strong discussion that at the mouth of the tunnel there was a temple which was removed to make that tunnel, and local people said that's why this tragedy happened. You restore the temple and the tunnel will survive. You remember all that?
Sir, though I have not read about it specifically.
Now that I have told this to you,
Yes, sir.
give us your analysis of this.
Sir, we need to see it in a more holistic perspective. The local traditions and the practices that and the values people have, it's a part of their lives. However, in my opinion, we need to be more scientific in nature as well. So we need to balance both our values as well as being more scientific in temper. So when we are talking about unfortunate event being done as a consequence of certain practices, like the raising of any temple, that should not be a blatant remark, in my opinion. So we have to balance both. So
Is there place for Shraddha in sociology?
so in sociology, we do mention about the practices and the social meanings that people attach to their actions. If we take the Weber's perspective of social action, so in a way, if I elongate the same argument, is that we can have our understanding of religion as to how the practices, especially for example, if the tribals, we take the example of tribals, so they have their own practices of religion and religious practices. So in a way, sociology does give out. Uh, a mean towards Shraddha, sir.
Now tell us about your research project, organic synthesis of molecular sensor for detection of manganese ions.
Yes, sir.
Tell us briefly and like in a simple words, especially imagine you are telling someone who don't know anything about all this. How will you help them understand what is this research paper?
Yes, sir. So this was the research paper which I conducted at Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Mumbai, and I was there, and in the Department of Chemical Sciences. Why we were making the sensor for manganese was because their exposure to manganese through various sources leads to a disease called manganism, which has a Parkinson's like symptoms. So, a normal person who may have got exposure to excess manganese through to mining or other activities, they can have those kind of symptoms. So, the group was trying to make a molecule which would sense the manganese within our body and also see the dynamics, how is it changing with time and with concentration, so that we can have better targeted drugs. So in that sense, it was very important.
I take it that the molecule you are referring to is inside our body, part of a cell, human cell.
Sir, we were creating the molecule outside in the lab, and we would incubate it in the cell culture, and then we will study about it, sir. So the idea was to organically synthesize that molecule, sensor molecule, sir, and we would detect manganese within our body, sir.
But the aim is human cure.
Human cure, sir. Yes, sir.
So will it be chemistry or will it be biology?
Sir, it was chemical biology, sir. It was part of both, sir.
So there is a word for it. You reverse the order. There is a very precise scientific word for it.
As a biological chemistry?
Biochemistry.
Biochemistry, sorry, sir. Biochemistry.
So was that field of biochemistry?
Sir, it was part of the application of biochemistry itself.
How did you get to work with TIFR?
Sir, it was through after I graduated from St. Stephen's, I wanted to pursue research for a certain period of time, and I personally contacted the guide through my college itself, and that's how I got to work with us.
So do I take it that was there a special subject for BSc?
No, sir. It was like general BSc.
All included.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Actually, it is a great undertaking. How I wish somehow you should continue.
Thank you, sir.
That line.
Sir, I wanted to continue. There was some unfortunate event because of COVID. I had to leave. So that was the reason, sir.
And how long were you at TIFR?
Sir, around 6 months.
6 months
Yes, sir.
is a long enough time.
Yes, sir.
And did you stay in the campus?
Sir, I was at the Mankhurd, which was BARC's campus.
Your campus. It's adjacent to each other.
Yeah,
It's
no,
both of-
yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
What is Dead Poets Society?
Sir, Dead Poet Society is a club that I founded at JNU for the people who are interested in poetry. The reason for naming the society as Dead Poet Society comes from a movie itself, sir, which goes by the same name.
What is that? Have you seen the movie?
Yes, sir. Sir, it stars Robin Williams, and it was about a teacher who inspires his students to think for themselves and think beyond just the mundane forces of social norms that they are forced to live through. So it's a very good story, and yes, sir.
Committing suicide just because you are not selected to work in a drama.
Sir.
How shallow, how naive, how wastage of life is it?
So though it was unfortunate, and it should not be adhered to, and suicide should be not adhered to in any case, in my opinion. However, if we look at from the perspective of the actor, he was facing a lot of issues.
You are referring to Robin Williams' suicide.
No, sir, I'm talking about the movie.
The movie.
Yes, sir. So in that case, when he was pressured from his father, and though the movie does not give out so much why he committed in terms of what exactly his mind was going through, although there are glimpses of it, but it does not justify or gives any explanation. So my opinion is that suicide should not be right way to go about things, sir.
Are you also aware, which I have already done, Robin Williams himself committed suicide?
Yes, sir.
What do you make of it?
Sir, Robin Williams had an issue of depression for a long period of time, and it was due to his personal lives as well as his activities and indulgences in his earlier life in the drugs and other intoxication. However, he moved beyond them, and through recovery and therapy, he got better and got into exercises as well. But sir, the underlying mental issues actually persisted in his case, sir.
How does sociology help us understand suicides?
So there are both two perspectives I can give. First is the Durkheimian perspective of suicide, which actually talks about rising rates of suicides within the society. And second would be the psychological or the mental individualistic aspect of suicide, why a person commits a suicide. So from a Durkheimian perspective, he talks about social currents as to if there are certain types of social currents which may lead to increased rate of suicides. And if we talk about the personalized or an individual sense, micro perspective, we can see that increasing consumerism as well as alienation within our society can actually lead a person towards such an unfortunate event, sir.
In all Bharatiya Dharma, I am saying, be it say Vedic, colloquially called as Hindu Dharma,
Yes, sir.
Buddha, Jain, there is a method when a person consciously chooses to die. Are you aware of those?
So are you referring to the Sallekhana?
In each one, there is a name for each one.
Sir, I am aware about the Sallekhana practice, although for others I'll have to read some more on this.
Salekhana, the pronunciation has to be.
Sorry, sir.
It is from which tradition?
So I believe it's a Jain tradition, sir.
What is it?
Sir, it's about person fasting for a long time and then choosing to die and through fasting, sir. That is the method.
Is that suicide?
Sir, in a way, it's a conscious choice of the person. So, though it is rooted in their religious values and beliefs, but since they are choosing and they're conscious of the fact that they might die out of fasting, so in a way, it can be called suicide, sir.
Tell us some recent books you read, especially on magical realism.
Sir, I read a story of Nikolai Gogol, The Nose. And I also read a Hindi book which goes by the name Diwar Mein Khidki Rehti Thi by Vinod Kumar Shukla. It also has a magical elements in it. And so my favorites would be Salman Rushdie's Midnight Children, as well as 100 Years of
Midnight Children you are calling as magical realism?
Right, sir. So there are magical elements in it. So the people who are born at the stroke of midnight, they have the telepathic abilities to be connected with each other. So that is the magical element in it, sir.
Good one.
Thank you, sir.
I see that you are saying you read Vishnu Sahasranam.
Sir, actually there was a limit of words. So I read, I recite, also I listen
Vishnu
to it.
Sahasranam is not something to read.
Yes, sir.
It is something to recite.
Yes, sir.
I mean, the sound waves are important.
Yes, sir.
Good. What do you achieve by reciting Vishnu Sahasranam?
Right, sir. Sir, there are few reasons which I can think. First is that it helps me to stay more calm, and it helps me focus better. And other is the devotional aspect. Since I come from a family which has had values, so that I can inherit all those. So it's been a part of family tradition as well, sir. And third is that there is scientific reasons for it as well. I came across a paper which actually talks about that reciting Vishnu Sahasranam can lead to lowered cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone, sir. So cumulatively, I read about it and recite also.
And while I would like to continue, for unfortunate limitation on time,
Sir.
Let's close the first part,
sir,
by listening to your poem. Tell us any of your poem.
Sir. Sir, can I take 1 minute to recite it?
Sir.
So this poem I wrote about from a perspective of an 8-year-old rape victim. So it's a bit serious poem. So sir, it goes like this. कमरे में फैला अंधेरा, डरने भी था डाला डेरा, हर लम्हे से वो लड़ती थी पर सन्नाटे से डरती थी, सिसकियां भी अब वो मौन हुई, सांसों की आहट चली गई, वो आहें भरकर रोती थी, अब आंखें खोले सोती थी। कमरे में बिसरा सन्नाटा, चीखों की गूंज से सहमा सा, वो अपना आपा खोता था, लड़की को देखकर रोता था, दीवारें भी वो गवाह बनी, उस पाप की हिस्सेदार बनी, चुपचाप ही चीखा करती थी, अस्तित्व पर अपने रोती थी। एक लम्हे वो सकुचाई सी, कुछ और चकित भरमाई सी, खुदा से फिर पूछने लगी और खुद को ही कोसने लगी, ऐसा मैंने क्या पाप किया, जीवन भर का फिर दंश लिया, हर पल हर छिन तुझको पूजा, था कौन कहा मेरा दूजा, तेरी मैं इबादत करती थी, पांचों नमाज मैं पढ़ती थी, है खुदा कहीं, बसता है कहीं, वो सब मुझको समझाते थे, बच्चों को प्यार वो करता है, ऐसा मुझको बतलाते थे, फिर क्यों ये मेरा हाल हुआ, ना रूप तेरा विकराल हुआ, अब क्यों आखिर तू रोता है, खुदा तू आंखें खोले सोता है। इन धर्मों का चक्रव्यूह गिरा या विकल देह आ बीच गिरा, मैं नहीं जानती धर्मों को, जानती हूँ मैं बस कर्मों को, वो दिखते सबके जैसे थे, पर तेरे बच्चे कैसे थे, मानव को तूने ज्ञान दिया, मानवता का था मार्ग दिया, पर कैसी ये मानवता है, बच्चों को सहना पड़ता है। मैं बन जाऊंगी एक कथा, बस चंद दिनों की एक व्यथा, सब भूल मुझे फिर जाएंगे, जीवन में व्यस्त हो जाएंगे, आवाज़ें शांत हो जाएंगी, गलियां प्रशांत हो जाएंगी, दिए भी सब बुझ जाएंगे, आंसू भी सूखे जाएंगे, कल फिर से चीखें गूंजेंगी, यही प्रश्न वो पूछेंगी, इस दुनिया में क्यों जन्म लिया, लड़की होने का पाप किया।
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Thank you so much, sir.
I'm sure you read Harivansh Rai Bachchan also.
Yes, sir. I've read some of his poems, sir.
इस कविता में मुझे ध्वनि उनकी सुनाई देती है.
Sir, that's a big compliment, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Great, Ayush. Overall, I'm very happy to say you are absolutely ready for 18th.
Thank you, sir.
I don't see a single sort of major area to prepare. You have considered your interview from all aspects.
Thank you, sir.
Also, in terms of, is there any lacuna on which you need to work? Today is 15th.
Yes, sir.
My happy conclusion is no.
Thank you, sir.
No such lacuna.
Thank you, sir.
So, you have to be like this. And I really think of you touching or even crossing 200.
Thank you,
If
sir.
it goes like this,
Thank you so much, sir.
you would not only touch, maybe cross 200. Then within our limited time, I have tried my best to deal with all aspects.
Yes, sir.
Still, there are always some one or two which now I will just tell you.
Yes, sir.
Your birth date is 25th of September.
Yes, sir.
Is there any importance to that date?
Yes, sir. So there are two things significance. First is it is also the date of birth of Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay, as well as it was also a date of birth of Satish Dhawan, who was from.
Once you are aware,
Yes, sir.
discussion on any of the two can come up.
Yes, sir.
Keep yourself ready with both.
Yes, sir.
If it is Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay, possibly on what he called as integral humanism, एकात्म मानववाद,
Yes, sir.
जो भी उन्होंने उसमें कहा होगा,
Yes, sir.
या some sort of link between what Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay stated and the policies that current BJP government is following. Do you see any reflection of what he said? There could also be question on his suspicious death,
Yes, sir.
which every knowledgeable person says he was murdered.
Right, sir.
And Satish Dhawan, the great person, it could mean questions on ISRO, space development, and whatnot. If on that front they keep going deeper into the scientific part, to the extent to which you can handle and prepare in coming 2 days, otherwise you can smile and say, sir, I studied either chemistry or now preparing for this. As to space, I need to study more.
Sure.
Point is there, think of an average,
Sorry, sir.
yeah, bless you, average benchmark for any UPSC aspirant,
Yes, sir.
which is itself very high, even if it is space technology, and work of Satish Dhawan.
Yes, sir.
Why the center is now named after him. He was a great person, for sure. So, possibly questions. Then, possibly questions on Badaयूं,
Yes, sir.
and broader questions on UP. And with your interest in poetry, maybe Shakil Badaयूं.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then broadly, now just a couple of smaller, not because it's any mistake or something, but from interview point of view, our normal guideline is never pose a counter question to the panel.
Right, sir.
I heard you say 3 or 4 times, are you referring to so and so?
Right, sir.
So the simple thing is to do is, instead of putting it as a question, are you referring to so and so? Just say, sir, I presume you are referring to so and so.
Sure, sir.
And go on with your answer. Similar, small things, just small things. Actually, global warming is clearly man-made.
Yes, sir.
Scientists have arrived at that conclusion. The word they use is anthropogenic. So 11-year sun cycles, or like even Earth undergoes cyclical changes in its average temperature.
Yes, sir.
They are all geographical part. But the phase we are experiencing now, global warming, climate change due to global warming, is proven to be anthropogenic. I would say for everyone except Trump. Trump
Yes, sir.
calls it a con job,
Yes, sir.
whatever is his opinion. But this one, do keep yourself ready to discuss father's work, and maybe therefore concept of religion, etc. Its relation with sociology and all. I just have 1 or 2 things to say there. One is, whenever we use the Hindi Sanskrit, same as Marathi word, karma kanda. Actually, recently there is a clear negative connotation to the word karma kanda.
Okay, sir.
Generally, when the outward action continues, but the meaning behind it is lost, comes to be described as karma kanda.
Okay, sir.
That is not the original meaning, mind you. What I am saying is, in recent times,
Okay, sir.
the word developed a negative connotation. There also, like I am among those who have always argued that dharma is not religion and religion is not dharma. There is no English word for our Bharatiya word dharma in English and not dharma. So that slight subtle distinction, dharma goes very deep. Dharma is duty, dharma is justice,
Yes, sir.
dharma is also ethical principles, dharma is also qualities of everyone, etc. There is no concept parallel to dharma in Western civilization.
Yes, sir.
Religion, by religion they understand one God, one prophet, one book, one institution of religion.
Yes, sir.
India says, while one God can be seen, understood, worshipped in millions of forms,
Yes, sir.
etc. That's, I call it the beauty.
Right, sir.
So actually when we are to use English words, I never use the word ritual. What your father performs is not again in English, ritual has a negative connotation. We should be using the word ceremonies.
Ceremonies.
These are religious ceremonies. शादी ब्याह हो या श्राद्ध का तर्पण करना हो पूर्वजों को, ये मात्र कर्म कांड नहीं है.
Yes, sir.
उसके पीछे भी बहुत गहरी सोच है. उसके पीछे जो प्रोग्रेसिविज्म के शैलो अंडरस्टैंडिंग के कारण इन पर टीका टिप्पणी की जाती है. उनको वो एक अज्ञानी है.
Yes, sir.
पर एक्चुअली इस सब के पीछे गहरी सोच है. आने वाले हर दिन इसके पीछे विज्ञान भी अब साबित हो रहा है. जैसे विष्णु सहस्त्रनाम,
Yes, sir.
इट इज प्रूवन कि साइंटिफिक चैंटिंग ऑफ विश्वम विष्णु वषटकार, द ध्वनि लहरी जो निर्माण होती है उसका हमारे मस्तिष्क से लेकर के पूरे शरीर पर पॉजिटिव परिणाम है.
Yes, sir.
So about that scientific this thing part. Then actually 6 schools are same as what you were talking. They are, our name for it is Shat Darshan. Although you mixed up, so just
Yes, sir.
brush up on them.
Yes, sir.
I will spare time. We are always short on time. But one of those 6, its original name is Purva Mimamsa.
Uttar Mimamsa.
Uttar Mimamsa is Vedanta.
Yes, sir.
Purva Mimamsa is, you referred to Jaimini,
Yes, sir.
who spelled out all these rituals, whatever you call as karma kanda, etc., are all very minutely defined in Purva Mimamsa. This broader discussion on sociology also, keep yourself ready.
Yes, sir.
When you gave the reference of G.S. Gurye, was excellent way to give an answer. This is substantiate always by referring to an authority in that field, and in a correct way to go about it. With this paper, earthquake resilient infrastructure, although you studied Himachal,
Yes, sir.
but it is all Himalayan topography,
Yes,
topology, whatever, geology also.
Yes,
sir. Actually, Himalayas are a sedimentary rock, layers over layers. That makes it difficult for tunnels to be carved.
Okay, sir.
Sahyadris are igneous rocks. Igneous are solid, rock solid. So you cut a tunnel, rest of the structure remains. With sedimentary rock, you may cut a tunnel across one layer. You never know when the layer above that may. That is what happened at Silkyara.
Silky. Okay, sir.
Do prepare even for 2 days, but do prepare for TIFR. It's a great institution. It's also an honor to get an opportunity to work there.
Yes, sir.
So someone on the panel may be interested in discussing that work. Dead Poets Society also discussion was excellent. Last 2 small points. All this lekhana, etc. The Vedic concept is prayopaveshan.
Okay, sir.
The word is prayopaveshan. That a person decides that I have lived happily. The purpose of this body is over.
Yes, sir.
Body as clothes worn by soul, Atma. Again, for Atma there is no English word. They
Yes,
don't
sir.
have this concept. Soul is not Atma.
Yes, sir.
Our concept, vasamsi jirnani yatha vihai. So the person decides, I'm okay. So I will stop having food, water, etc. quietly. And then one day, एक्चुअली हमारे सारे शब्दों में मैं कह रहा हूँ इतनी गहरी सोच है. कोई जब चल बसता है
Yes, sir.
तो हम कहते हैं उन्होंने आखिरी सांस ली. Look at the beauty of that description कि उन्होंने आखिरी सांस ली. या ये एक शब्द रचना है मराठी में, बट हिंदी भाषी आप समझ पाओगे. वो कहते हैं देह ठेवला.
Yes, sir.
देह, बॉडी,
Body, yes, sir.
at rest.
Nice, sir.
Actually, this language comes from realization that Atma is eternal. That Atma is it neither takes birth nor dies.
Jnanam Chidnanti Shastrani, yes, sir.
What takes birth and dies is the body.
Yes, sir.
So when we talk about death, we don't talk about Atma. We talk about the body.
Bodies.
And then Prayopavation. You may do well by remembering it is okay if you don't. But this great freedom fighter Savarkar
Yes, sir.
made controversial for more political reasons than genuine ones right now. You are okay not to go deep there, but he laid down his life by following this Prayopavation method.
Okay, sir.
You use the word Sallekhana. The Vrata is called Santhara in Jain philosophy. Santhara Vrata. And if I am sitting in your place, I would say it is not suicide, not even comparable with suicide.
Okay, sir.
So you said, or there was a judge who at a point of time said, and he came in for heavy criticism, I would say quite rightly so. Prayopavation, Sallekhana, Santhara are not suicides. Actually, suicide is when a person is driven to kill himself or herself because of negative reasons.
Okay, sir.
It could be frustration, depression, suicidal thoughts, losing interest in anything. And Prayopavation, Sallekhana, Santhara are all to be performed in the happiest of a state. दुनिया के प्रति विश्व कल्याण की प्रार्थना है. किसी के प्रति किसी तरह का कोई बैर भाव नहीं है. ये जो मेरा जीवन है मैंने सफलतापूर्वक जी लिया, अब ये देह मैं छोड़ना चाहता हूँ. Cannot be compared with suicide.
So I just have one question to ask. Sir, in Durkheimian perspective, we talk about altruistic suicides as well. So if the panel actually counters with it, you are saying that it's not a suicide, but Durkheim itself had said that there are altruistic suicide where people actually do it for the betterment or the welfare of society. And how can you say that it is not a suicide, sir? And so how
Actually, we need not take Durkheim's word as a final word on suicide.
Yes, sir.
If we go deeper, I will either call even Durkheim as shallow,
Sir.
or at best a starting point of analysis of suicides.
Sir.
Behind the term altruistic suicide also, it does not have the depth that our philosophy has.
Yes, sir.
Altruistic suicide will also mean whatever is that person's thinking, I am committing this suicide for some people's welfare, etc. यहाँ प्रायोपवेशन सल्लेखना वगैरह में एक जीवन के परिपूर्ति का भाव है.
Right, sir.
अभी कोई चाह नहीं है, न द्वेष है, न राग है तो प्रसन्नता, पर मेरा निर्णय है कि अब मैंने ये देह छोड़ना है.
Right, sir.
There is no comparable. Durkheim doesn't go this deep.
Yes, sir.
So this is how I would see it or analyze, etc.
Sure.
But like I said, excellent one.
Thank you, sir.
Just keep it up. Just one small suggestion.
Right, sir.
Poem is great, undoubtedly. I see a genuine poet in you.
Thank you, sir.
I would say उसको बनाए रखो, संभल के रखो।
अच्छा।
मैंने कईयों को देखा है सिविल सर्विस में जाने के बाद उनमें जो कलाकार होता है मर जाता है, वो फाइलें दे। एक्चुअली कवि तो और भी निखार आ सकता है कवि को।
यस सर।
प्रशासन के अनुभवों से
राइट सर।
कवि की प्रतिभा में और भी निखार आ सकता है, बट बनाए रखना। और सचमुच ही इस कविता में हरिवंश राय बच्चन जी की ध्वनि,
थैंक यू सर, दैट्स
सचमुच ही,
दैट्स बिग कॉम्प्लीमेंट
या
सर,
या
थैंक यू।
या
Sir, like, can I, like, is it a too long poem? That's
No,
what
not too long. I have a slightly different, at least, approach to suggest.
Yes, sir.
So, as literature, साहित्य की दृष्टि से कविता सचमुच ही एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी है।
Thank you, sir.
उसमें जो काव्य का रस है उसमें, but it is sad. It sets you thinking. All I would say is you think whether you want to share a sad poem in UPSC interview.
Yes, sir.
Or take your time to think, is there any sort of genuine, of course उसमें काव्य के गुण होना जरूरी है, लेकिन कुछ तो इंस्पिरेशनल शायद उसमें है। या ये जाहिर है, मैं तो कविता सुनते हुए मुझे लग रहा था कि ये आपने सचमुच ही कहीं अनुभव किया है, या तो किसी व्यक्ति के बारे में, या फिर वो वेदना अनायास आ ही जाती है काव्य में कि वो मात्र शब्दों तक सीमित नहीं रहते हैं। मैं कहूँगा इतना ही सोच लो कि यूपीएससी इंटरव्यू में थोड़ा दुख भरी, जो वो अच्छे मुकाम पर पहुंचती है, माने गहरी सोच वाले, पर इतना सोच लो
Yes, sir.
कि या ये करना है, या it has to be excellent as a poem and at the same time maybe sort of more positive, more cheerful, more inspirational, if I may say.
Right, sir.
So, lengthy I won't say, not at all.
Okay, sir.
Actually, with each stanza it goes on building up to the crescendo until it finally reaches that extraordinary this thing.
Thank you, sir.
बस मैं सोचने के लिए कह रहा हूँ कि जो हर मुहूर्त होता है ना,
Yes, sir.
समयोचित क्या है, कालोचित क्या है, तो यूपीएससी के इंटरव्यू में जब पूछा जाए कि आपकी एक अपनी कविता बताओ, सोच लेना। अगर सोच के बाद भी इस निर्णय पर पहुंचोगे कि नहीं यही कविता, तो ठीक है। मैं कह रहा हूँ कि ऐसी कोई बात नहीं, कि मैं बिल्कुल ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि यह कविता मत बताओ।
Right, sir.
मैं कह रहा हूँ इस एंगल पर सोच लो, दैट्स ऑल। राइट?
Yes, sir. क्योंकि सर I'll have to write another one because अभी currently does not come as such.
फिर ये रहना।
यही सर, यही।
या बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
Sir, what is your opinion on the, like, ये जा सकता हूँ?
Perfectly okay. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
क्योंकि I was not like in the mind. I have a blue suit, but everybody is wearing a blue.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe this. I wanted your opinion this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, had you come in that standard uniform for UPSC dress,
Yes, sir.
that might have been one of the comments I make.
Okay, sir.
कि सब यही पहन के जाते हैं। मराठी में उसको छापाचे गणपति कहते हैं।
Right,
जो बट अपना एक स्टेटमेंट होना ज्यादा अच्छी बात है। राइट?
Thank you, sir.
Go for 200 plus, huh?
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. All the very best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.